Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, we're unboxing the FlyEgg 130 that I won from Albert Kim's weekly giveaway. We're just gonna open this, and it's a little 2 to 3 inch drone, depending on, I guess, what props you put on it, so, yeah. Alright, so right here there's a whole bag of propellers. So a whole bunch of propellers, different sets, colors, amounts of blades, etc. There's even some 5 blades in there. So that's pretty cool. And then right here we got the drone. So that's this little guy. So I'm assuming this is 2 inches. So we have different motors, which he said they might have to be replaced, but I think they're the same specs. So it will fly, but it might need new motors. A little aluminum chassis here. FPV camera with some TPU mounts. And yeah, there's a little stack right there. So I'm gonna have to figure out what kind of receiver's in here, which is tucked away right here. It's either Spectrum or Fly Sky, I'm assuming. So hopefully it's Fly Sky so I can fly it. Yeah, it's really cool. There's a little rubber band, a little micro USB port right there. So I'm gonna have to look at some of the specs on this thing, but motors, let me see if I can focus on the motors. They're a little 1105 7000 kV motors, which I think is the same as these ones. Pretty cool little guy, XT30 connector. So I guess I'll figure out what I'm gonna do next. Probably have to figure out what the receiver is first, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I just figured out, I was looking at the receiver to see if I could figure out what it was. And I don't know if you could see it in there. It's kind of hard. But right there, try to zoom in, it says FS82. So I'm thinking that this might be a FlySky 82 receiver. And I looked it up and it's a thing. So I'm going to try to plug this into Betaflight and bind it to my transmitter right here. And we'll see what happens. Alright, so I'm going to plug this into the USB for the first time. So here's the cord here. Plugged in. I'm going to start recording on Betaflight. So I ended up recording the video with Logitech Capture, and basically let me switch from my computer screen to my camera, and then also kind of put them on split screen. So I was doing that, and then my audio just didn't record, I guess. So I'm basically gonna voice over how I kind of figure out how to bind the receiver and get it all configured. So I have the quad plugged in right here, and I was basically just checking to make sure that the flight controller was turning on, and then you can see the little green blinking light, and then I ended up switching the USB port and then connecting to the quad to configure it. And then as you can see, the accelerometer is working, and you'll see right here my quad disconnects, and it's not an issue with the quad or anything, but my micro USB cable actually has a little issue where I have to apply downward pressure in order to keep it connected to the device. So that was something that I thought was an issue at the time, but then I realized it was just the cable and not the quad. So it was really difficult trying to actually bind the receiver to the quad. I was having 3 kind of main issues. I was trying to hold the bind button, make sure that the USB didn't come unplugged, and then I was also trying to plug the battery in all by myself at the same time. A couple times I ended up actually holding the bind button and plugging it in and getting it all to work. So I'll show how I bound the receiver to the transmitter as I talk about it. Basically what happened is when you hold the bind button and plug it in, the receiver flashes really fast, and then when you bind the transmitter, the light flashes slower, and then your transmitter just is stuck on RX binding, at least in my case. And so what you actually have to do is turn the transmitter off and then turn it back on, and then it will bind, but it will never actually say bound without turning the transmitter off and turning it back on. So that was something that I ended up finding out. So I plugged the quad into the micro USB port, and then I connected it to Betaflight. And so I just wanted to test to make sure that the transmitter could talk to the receiver while it was being powered by the micro USB port. But then after I went to the receiver tab and tested it, I realized that it only works when the battery is plugged in, which actually powers the receiver. So here is the clip of the battery plugged in, and as you can see, the transmitter talks to the receiver and it all works. So the leftmost switch on my transmitter is to arm the quad. The second switch doesn't do anything. The third switch is a 3-position switch which toggles between angle mode, horizon mode, and acro mode. At the time of this video, I had acro mode as Acro-Trainer mode, and I didn't realize that you're supposed to just put no mode at all to have it automatically go into acro mode, but I ended up fixing that later. And then the last switch on the very right is the beeper, which toggles on and off. So in case you don't know, horizon mode is a self-leveling mode where you can tip and it will stop you from tipping past a certain degree, and then once you let go of the stick it will level back out. And then angle mode is where you can tip, but you can set the degree that you can tip. So basically you could do more intense maneuvers like flipping and stuff, but once you let go it will level back out. And then angle mode is where if you tip the quad and let go, it will just keep in that same rotation until you correct for it and level back out. So I changed the stick low threshold because my stick normally sits at 1010-ish without pushing down on it, and it was at 1000. So basically the flight controller thought that the throttle was turned up a little bit, which it won't let you arm if it's like that. So I turned up that value so that I could arm it. I also put some RC DeadBand on it, which is just basically the value that the stick is at. It kind of ignores just tiny movements unless there's like a great movement, so that my broken gimbal doesn't accidentally cause unintended movements. Alright, so we have the quad right here, and I think we're ready to fly. Everything is ready, and I'm gonna walk you through setting up before the flight. So there is a little bit of wind, but I think this little guy will be able to handle it. It's not that bad. And we're going to do my first acro flight, I think. So let's try it out. Alright, here is the first flight on this quad. Gotta bring it back. It's a little windy, but not too bad. Sorry, I'm not gonna have any DVR because I don't have goggles yet, but here's the quad. Oh, and it just plummeted. The cool thing about these little quads is they don't really break when you impact the ground. Nothing's wrong with it except it just came unplugged. That's literally it. So we're gonna try this again after I plug it in. Alright, I'm gonna go set it down real quick. Alright, here's flight number 2. The wind is really pushing on it, even though there's not that much wind. It's just because it's really light. So I'm gonna try some acro mode now. So let's see how this goes. So this is the part that I was referring to earlier, but basically I thought it was in acro mode, but it was just Acro-Trainer, so it kind of felt like acro, but it was limiting me, so I couldn't actually like tip that much. It was only like 20 degrees. So then I realized after that, the next day, that I need to switch from Acro-Trainer to just no mode on that switch, so that when I switched, it was just no auto level or Acro-Trainer, and that automatically puts the quad into acro mode. So this flight was kind of a fail, and I ended up just switching back to horizon mode. Okay, that didn't work. No acro flight yet. I'll have to figure that out. We'll do an acro flight tomorrow before I post the video, and I'll add it in. I wanted to experience a little bit more acro type of flight. So I just turned up my rates, and then I also turned up the throttle curve so that I can kind of control the angle better, and especially on the pitch I needed more authority, but my gimbal's broken on the pitch axis. So I turned up the rate and the Expo all the way on the pitch axis, and with the RC DeadBand and Betaflight it actually ended up working really well. Alright, so I figured out the original issue. So I think I forgot that in order to be in acro mode, you have to have a switch which is armed but doesn't have an actual mode selected. So I just fixed that. So now I only have horizon mode right here. Then we have Acro-Trainer and then acro, which is just no mode at all by default. So now we're going to actually try acro mode and see what happens. Alright, we're going to start in horizon mode, and then we'll flip. Alright, here's acro mode. 3, 2, 1, acro mode. This is full acro. first flip. I'll do one more flip. Here's a flip. Missed. That's gonna be it for this video. This is a really cool quad. Thanks to Albert Kim for sending it to me. It's really fun. I'm gonna definitely learn some acrobatic tricks and stuff on acro mode, and I'll post another video with other flights and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.